All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody had a lovely week and is having a lovely start to their weekend. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we are going to kick it off with the indices here. Then we're going to go over the big boys, the Magnificent Seven. Then we have the semiconductors. We'll talk about some Bitcoin. And then I have a few trade ideas at the end of the video just for you. Guys, we had a pretty exciting week here. There was a lot of fear in the market that came out and about. And at the end of the day, we did end up seeing the start of our rally. There was a lot of fear in the market, and we talked about it extensively after this close and in yesterday's video. Well, 2 days ago. We knew to be expecting this. I was pointing out it. I can point to the facts. I can point out when it's very obvious, but it is your job to take action if you would like to do so. I still think this is going to get bought up, and I think today was just the start of that. From the pre-market, today's high, we saw a 3% gain over here in SPY. The pre-market low on QQQ on the NASDAQ to today's high, you saw almost a 4% gain. Congratulations if you bought the dip. I do think we have further upside incoming next week. We're going to talk about these weekly charts to start off the video. SPY. You closed out with a nice, decently long upper wick. You did not close out at the high, as you can see here. You got as high as 595 intraday here, 595.75, almost 596. Almost retested these daily moving averages here at the 9 and the 21. Blue line is the 9. Bottom one, the white one, is the 21 EMA. Almost tested it. Almost tested, our 597.28 resistance right there. But then you sold off into the end of the day. The important part is, guys, we're just retesting the previous structure. Okay? You did not hold up here. What you did do is you printed a nice lower wick with heavy volume right off where we were going to be looking for buyers. We said that downside was very likely limited because of this guy over here, the McClone oscillator. And again, guys, I can point to what's obvious to me, and I can talk about it, and I could put together realistic expectations here. But it is not my job to take action off of that. I mean, it's my job for myself and my own money to take action off that. But if you would like to use that information, you have to pull the trigger. You have to take your own action. All right. And I know there's a lot of fear in the market, but I very much so pointed out, hey, yesterday's video, when this thing starts turning up from down where it's at, it doesn't typically come back down. I still think that is going to be the case. I think we're going to be reverting to the mean, which means we're going to have further upside next week. We had the fear and greed index being at 20 this morning. I looked this morning and I saw that, it bottomed out at 17. This is when NASDAQ gapped down 5.5%. And August 5th, it was at 17. This morning, we definitely did not have a crazy, setup for a crash or anything like that. I've been pointing that out. VIX skyrocketed 73%. We can look at that right here. All right. But at the end of the day, that was sold. And it looks like it is going to continue being sold. When this thing is down as low as it gets, all right, it doesn't get much lower than this. When it is to the bottom of where it gets to, you are probably putting in a major bottom. I still think this is the case. I could be wrong. I put my opinions out there, and I hope you respect that. In reality, it's scary calling bottoms. It's scary putting yourself out there, but I try and do my best. Sorry if I disappointed anyone because, we decided to fall off a freaking cliff over here and no one really could have seen it coming. I don't care what you say. You couldn't have seen it coming. You could not see SPY falling down 3.3% intraday in the span of 2 hours. There's nothing that suggested that. And if you had seen it coming, you probably were somehow seeing it coming right here on this red day, and right here on this red day, and right over here on these red days, and all of these other things. You probably thought a market crash was coming, because in reality, you cannot pick something and you cannot predict something like that. It is something that 100% was just from the news, and the market decided to price it in all in one go within a 2-hour period. Nobody knew they were going to, just, hey, let's just, hey, take a chill pill. Well, nobody knew they were going to come on saying, hey, inflation, everything we've been saying in all of these past FOMC meetings, that's actually not how it is. Inflation is not coming down as fast as, we were hoping for. They literally have not said this at any other FOMC meeting. They just decided to completely surprise the market, and it is what it is. What we can do is we can react, and we can take advantage of what we're seeing on these charts to make some money. And that's what we're here for. I hope you guys are making money. I hope you guys are ready. We have some setups ready to pop. We're going to talk about some things in this video. But as far as the weekly chart over here on the S&P 500 goes, SPY, you came down, tested the golden pocket. You were right here. You had to hold over here. We're going to come on the 4-hour time frame. You had to hold the 0.786 fib, or if you're not new to the channel, you know what it means. If you're breaking the 0.786 fib, you're probably going to end up getting 100% retracement, or you have odds that you are going to be getting that retracement. But when you have a bullish divergence here on 3 out of 4 major indices, and then the fourth is also in oversold territory and also in the golden pocket, you are probably going to be getting a big, nasty bounce. I do not think this is all she wrote. I think we're going to be seeing further upside next week. People are brushing the Santa Claus rally off their shoulders, and I'm telling you, with how we, closed out today, we're probably going to be witnessing that, at least on select stocks, and we're going to cover those in this video. All right, levels on SPY, guys. We're watching 591.04 as your support. It's pretty much support and resistance right here. You closed like right at it. Okay, we'll watch that as support. 591.04 underneath there. 586.12, 583.32, and then you have today's bottom at 580.91. You break here, guys. This proves that this was a dead cat bounce, and we're probably going decently lower. But that is not what I think is going to happen, because this right here is still down in the dumps. We went from greed territory in the span of, 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, 3 weeks, greed, down to extreme fear. I think this is going to recover. I think this is going to end up recovering. Let's just look at it this way. Okay. Put a line here. Right here. Once you get above it, hang on. How do we? It's right there. Yes, right there. Okay. You get above it. Okay. Got above it. You kept going. You 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 got above it. You kept going. This is 2 years. 2 years of data. Probably going to revert back to the mean. This is probably going to revert back to the mean. In reality, this is probably going to revert back to the mean. Let's get a retracement going. Let's get into our golden pocket, the next golden pocket to golden pocket. Inception, baby. Golden pocket inception. That is what we like to call it. I do think 597.28 is coming next week. All right. So on the upside is resistance. We're going to have 597.28. We're watching the golden pocket up here, and up near the 0.786 fib, we have 602.13. If price manages to break above 603 next week, we are probably going to start coming up to 609.07. New all-time highs will be incoming. I don't know if that is going to be the case. I don't know if this is all she wrote, but I'm going to put together some context clues in this video. So that is SPY. Let's take a look at how QQ closed out the week. You bounced off of the weekly 9 EMA like we were paying attention to. We knew this was the exact spot for confluence. We talked about this in yesterday's video. All right. In reality, we had a breakout level right here, 511.45. We had the 0.618 fib sitting right here. You can't see it because it's being blocked by that red line, but you had the 0.618 fib, Fibonacci retracement. And at the same time, you had the weekly 9 EMA sitting right there. Where did we find buyers? Exactly off of there this morning. And that was all she wrote. You went straight up from that point. All right. At the low down here, guys, you were looking pretty down bad in pre-market. Okay. Pretty down bad. But in the end, you held the 0.786 fib and you rallied your butt off. And now it is looking a lot better. Okay. So on the upside as your resistance, you have 519.16, 524.59, which we know is, resistance. We found sellers off it today. We knew to be paying attention to it in yesterday's video. And then above there, we have 526.72, 530.61. And then what are we going to do, guys? Same as we just did on SPY. We'll draw the next golden pocket, which is going to align with this 530.61 resistance. Get above 533. We're probably going to be revisiting new highs. 539.15 incoming. On the downside is your support. You have 515.58, 511.45. Then you have today's low at 509.29. If you take out 509.29, you're probably going to revisit 505.64 like you did in pre-market over here. All right. Pretty sick, nasty bounce we got there off of that pre-market dip. Extremely heavy volume on the day. Haven't gotten this volume since August 5th. What was created August 5th? Bottom. What candlestick printed August 5th? The same exact flipping candlestick that we got today. We have what I think is a bottoming candlestick here. And I think it's going to lead to the same exact thing that we saw at the August low. Further upside is likely incoming, ladies and gents. Moving over here to IWM. On the week, how do you close? It looks pretty butt ugly to me. It does. But at the same time, the daily RSI is oversold. You got heavy volume on the day. You did reject, this previous breakout zone over here. You did reject it today. Okay, you did. But I think you're going to revert back to the mean. I think you're going to find yourself up around 230 next week. That is what I'm going to be paying attention to. Now that this started bouncing, I think it's going to continue bouncing. All right. I just think that is probably going to be the case if everything else is rallying. And that is that. Coming down to DIA. Again, guys, we had so much confluence. 4-hour bullish divergences on DIA, IWM, and SPY, while QQQ's 4-hour RSI was oversold. Most of these took place in the golden pocket. IWM here was the only one that didn't get down to the golden pocket, but then you come over here to futures, and they did get right down to the golden pocket, and you had the 4-hour bullish divergence. We're likely going to bounce. But on DIA, guys, you're going to be watching this downtrend right here. If you can break above 433.20, I think that's when this thing really starts recovering. That's when we can see 438.04 in the short term, and then 444.87. Golden pocket down to today's low. Starts up at 440. That is where the next 0.618 fib is. And the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement is going to be at 444.87. Okay? That is where you're paying attention on the Dow. Now, VIX, guys, this was a key component on why we were looking for a major bottom. You spiked up to the same spot the daily RSI topped out at last time and then fell off an absolute cliff within 2 trading sessions. It fell off a cliff. You got a 60% VIX crush. So far, we got a 37% VIX crush, and I think it is likely going to result in us going lower. We typically do not start with this massive red candlestick after our massive spike and then have that get bought up. It just isn't typically how that goes. You typically start the massive red candlesticks, the big VIX crush, and then you die. Is typically how this goes. And, volatility could stay up and we could chop around. We could build out a base for where we are right now. But once you start crushing this thing, it typically will keep getting crushed. And even if it gets another spike, it gets sold and then it continues getting crushed. I am not expecting something different. I am expecting this to continue getting crushed. Large upper wick here on VIX. All right. Typically, we really haven't had one other than over here. I'm going to be honest, since, over here, COVID. And, no, I mean, not even over here. This is, the most comparable to what we have right now is right here. And what happened? It kept going down the following weeks. I think this is going to continue being crushed. I think the market is going to continue rallying off of what we got today. And we're going to go over the big boys, the Magnificent Seven. If you're not following the Twitter, link is going to be down below. I will hit you with some real-time trade ideas. All right, in real time there, so you could take advantage. We knew what we were watching during pre-market. We knew to be paying attention to over here. This is the confluence area, 425 to 429. This was the buy zone. Why? You had the golden pocket starting up, the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. You had the downtrend, the trend line retest from where you broke out from. And you also had a breakout level at 429.04. From that point, very quickly, you got bought up 3.5%, 14 bucks. There's your money. Okay. I'm actually really liking how Microsoft is shaping up here. Okay, I think it's about to, just continue stair stepping. You broke out of this consolidation. All this week did is retest that consolidation. I think it provided an entry point for the move back up. Two highs, 457.26, and then new all-time highs, 468.35. I don't know if this market's going to make new all-time highs, guys. I really have no idea. But with what I showed you at the beginning of the video, on this guy and on this guy, I am going to guess that the market is going to start marching back up to the highs. But I'm not going to sit there calling for all-time highs. I'm saying we're getting a decent-ass dead cat bounce. A big fat cat bounce is what we are likely getting now, at the least. Santa Claus rally is in effect. Jerome Powell, everyone thought it was, Krampus coming for Christmas, okay? Little did we know, it was a Santa Claus gift before the Santa Claus rally. Right into next week. We have a short trading week next week. And I'm going to be completely honest, guys. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm going to point some things out. All right. Meta over here. It's the only one that's really not looking the best to me. You came up. You rejected your breakout zone up here. You did not reclaim it. Ideally, you were going to reclaim it all in one day, and you were going to close right up here around 602.95. You did not do that. It would have printed a very nice lower wick on that weekly candle. You did not do it. You are at the weekly 9. But with how this is looking, I could see this thing chopping around for a little bit. So I'm not going to say it's the best look to it. I'm really not. Coming over to Goog, we do have a decent look over here on Goog. You pulled back, you retested the breakout zone over here, and you have, what does look like a long-legged doji over here, indecision candlestick. But in reality, we could see on the daily time frame, you pull back to your daily short-term moving averages and print in a nice green bar. If the NASDAQ is to continue higher, which I already pointed out, I think is very likely, then this should make its way back up to highs 202.88 incoming. Apple over here, guys, I pointed out the relative strength over here. And in reality, this was the thing that anybody could have focused on and made it a decent chunk of change today. It is the thing that is going to continue marching higher because it just broke out of 4 to 5 months of consolidation. This is literally week number 3. You're not going to spend 25% breaking out, 25% of the actual consolidation period breaking out. You're going to probably, get somewhat of an equivalent move. This was the last big breakout we had over here on Apple. As you see, it went for a freaking ride. We're just stair-stepping our way up over here. All right. Stair-step, stair-step, stair-step. Boom. All right, so new high. I think 260 is probably going to be incoming in the short term, and that is Apple. Amazon over here. How'd we close out the week, guys? Closed out with a nice long lower wick. Doesn't look the worst to me. If you were to come down over here, guys, we knew 215.90. That was where we were looking for. And then underneath there between 210 and 215.90, we were looking for buyers to step in. Why? You have the weekly 9 sitting right down here. That is what supported price all along this rally. That is what we are continuing to look for. And even if you did pull back and you tested 201.20, probably going to find buyers. If you don't find them here, you don't find them here. Probably find them right down here. Why? You have the weekly 21 sitting right there. We all can see that is where buyers start stepping in. Since the low over here, you started stepping over here on the test, started stepping in here. You started stepping in there, but then you faded it, and then you reclaimed it, and boom, that was all she wrote. All right, this thing probably gets more upside. I think it is going to see the highs again up here at 233. Tesla, guys, caution. Caution is what I'm going to say here. You hit our 465 target. You went decently higher. And then, in reality, you printed this shooting star candlestick. And you sold ever since. All right? It looks tragic. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to have a larger correction. It's going to retest the previous all-time high down at 414.50. You did not hit it today. You had one heck of a rally today from the pre-market low up to the high. 9% rally over there after you fell. What was it? Yeah, 8% intraday over here. And in reality, you had a 12.5% intraday move down. That's crazy. We can clearly see sellers are still motivated over here. They're taking profits. It's, really not even sellers. It's just people taking profits. Let's be completely real about it. We talked about this in yesterday's video. It's completely normal for this thing to consolidate for a while. It consolidated for 3 to 4 weeks over here. I will not be surprised to see the same thing happen. After this consolidation is done, new highs. All right. I don't know how quick they're going to come. Pointed out the other tickers that, I'm going to be focusing on. Tesla is not one right now. But, see this pullback. We're going to say right over here. I'll add an alert right there. Let me see 400. We'll be interested again. And that is that. Let's talk about the chips now, guys. You hit it with the false breakdown yesterday, and you came right back up. All right, you had a do or die moment over here. You said die, and then by the end of the week, you said do. And now, so far, you're gapping up to today's high in the after hours. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to, end up panning out here. I really don't. Chips are pretty mixed right now. I'm going to point out the ones that I think were looking really good. I'll just, I'll give you a sneak peek of what we'll talk about. It's going to be Nvidia. It's going to be MU. And it's going to be TSM. Those are the good ones that I'm seeing right now. As far as SMH is concerned, guys, watch 248.19, watch 253.07, get a daily close above 253.07. This was all confirmed as a false breakdown, and now you have a breakout to the upside, and then we're probably going to start marching higher. That is that. Now let's talk about the prettiest chart that I could really put your eyes on right here. We've been talking about this one. I think we're going to get 140 early next week. And we're going to have to see if we get above 142.50. You get above 142.50 over here, we're probably going to take a ride up to 146.54. And at that point, anyone who is a big buyer down here with me, you're making so much money you don't know what to do with. All right? Nah, you'll know what to do with it, okay? There's always something to do with it. But sometimes, you're just going to take the money and you're going to sit on your hands and you're going to wait for the next very obvious opportunity. And here on this channel, guys, I will call out the extremely obvious opportunities when they arise. We pointed out this has relative strength. We pointed out Apple is the one with relative strength. This thing was not making new lows with the NASDAQ 2 days in a row. This morning, it did not make new lows with the NASDAQ. Again, held on to that relative strength. And as we could see, it closed out at the highs. You moved against the market today. And you did end up getting a little, either a squeeze or a little FOMO buy into the end of the day. I do think this continues higher next week. I talked about this in detail. This has been the main trade idea I have pitched on this channel because it is the one that I am participating in. I'm just going to say a lot of people are little clowns. A lot of people are dickheads. A lot of people who come on to my channel the following day and try and rub things in have now deleted their comments. And I'm like, I went back. There were like at least 5 negative comments I just let stay because I want to make these people feel stupid. All right. And I gave my response. I'm like, dude, what do you think? I'm not going to answer. All right. I'll support my thesis. In reality, I go back today. They've deleted their comments. Little pansies, little pussies. All right. I stand by what I stand by. I stand by what I say on this channel. And I will take action accordingly. And next week, big Nvidia payday. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. This thing looks like it's about to rip faces. I'm here for it. Maybe you're here for it. Let's get it. That was easy.
That was easy.
Boom, bop, bing, boo, pow. Ran that shit up. We're about to run it up next week. All right. Closed out with the weekly pin bar / hammer candlestick over here. You did not close out the highs. That is okay. You came down to the exact spot we were paying attention to. We said buyers between 127.67 and 131.26. That is your buy zone. You found buyers right off of there, and you closed out near the highs. We're ready to advance into next week. You could see the 4-hour chart over here. Doesn't matter you're using extended hours. You're using regular trading hours. Doesn't matter. You see the clean breakout. 140 incoming. You're about to get paid. I'm about to get paid. We're about to have a damn good time. All right, this is the one ticker that I was pounding the absolute table on. I knew it was going to be participating in the rally, and I think if the NASDAQ wants to not crap the bed next week, early next week, this is going to be at 140 within Monday or Tuesday. I'm really liking the setup. Further upside is incoming. And if you can reclaim these short-term moving averages, you probably get a decent, little leg up there. Okay, we're talking, maybe you make it up here, 140 to 142 early on in the week. I'm here for it. Let's get it. MU. All right, MU. This thing doesn't look so bad right now. This is the other chip stock that I'm going to pitch a short-term trade idea for you. It's not the swing trade idea I've been pounding the freaking table on, which is Nvidia. I said that was clear as day, the money-making opportunity right now. When I got something real obvious that I'm playing, I will pound the table on the channel and I will keep at it until it plays out. We talked Google. We talked Microsoft. We talked Tesla before both of those. And now we were talking Nvidia. MU is not one of those. But I'll tell you right now, break above 91. You have absolutely nothing until 95.53. I really do hope you guys are making money. I know there's a lot of jerks that come on when, Henry Boy over here is wrong for one freaking day. One day. Just give it time. The dip was clearly a buying opportunity, and I could say it all I want. It is my channel. It is my opinion. No financial advice will be given on this channel. But in reality, I don't really get too many things wrong. I have a proven track record here on this channel, and any clown who wants to come on my channel and try rubbing it in my face because the thing I called out as a swing trade idea is not playing out in a day is a pussy. You hear that? You're a pussy if you're like that, and I appreciate the crap out of you guys. I know 99.9% of you guys are lovely people, beautiful freaking people. We're putting together a great community over here. But I cannot stand that there are pussies I have to deal with on the internet, and then they delete their comments. You little pussy. All right? But let's get back to it. MU above 91. Above there, you're watching for 95.53. ARM. I'm not going to say I like the look of this thing. I think it's probably going to be taken out the low. I don't like it. But I'm also going to say, if chips as a whole are to rally next week and this thing does not open up down here, hey, you're probably going to start pushing back up. I can see 144.54. But in reality, I'm not going to say I like how this weekly close is. I do not like it at all. And that is that. I think it could come down to 126.36 and then get, a little bit more of a bounce down there. But if you can't hold 126.36, this is your lower high. You just broke, the last swing low over here. You're coming down probably to 114.91. I'm not going to say it looks good. I was really like an ARM. Sometimes I get things really right. And you got to take profits early on because you never really know. And I really do wish I took all my profits over here on ARM. But I did not make the smart decision and sell everything towards the highs. I sold like more than half towards the highs. It's not still everything towards highs. So in reality, you know, we still made a decent amount of money on the trade. I'm still pretty pissed that this thing just fell flat on its face, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Avgo over here, guys. All right. We talked about it. After you make new highs, expect it to cool off. Expect to consolidate for, 2 to 3 weeks here at least. I think that is not going to be different this time. I think we are probably going to consolidate or pull back for 2 to 3 weeks. Don't be chasing this bad boy. You can do whatever you want, I guess. No financial advice will be given on this channel, but I wouldn't be chasing this bad boy. I'd say you have no reason to, considering all of these arrows were followed by 2 to 3 weeks of pullbacks once you printed that topping tail. Right here, next week, you at least went lower right there and printed the wick, and then you went higher. Okay, but I didn't point to that arrow. All right, we're talking new highs over here. Clear as day, new highs. So I guess we can. All right, so 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One occurrence right here, this green one, is the only one that got bought up the following week after you printed a candlestick like this and then continued higher the following week and made a new high. Guys, those are not odds you should be taking. All right, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are the odds on that, huh? We're talking like what, 16% odds of it going in your favor next week? Don't touch it. We don't gamble on this channel. I don't support gambling on this channel. And if you are someone who wants to take a gamble, I want you to remember my voice. Or I want you to remember saying this. Okay? Remember me saying this. Gambling does not make you money in the long run. It never will. It never will. You stack odds in your favor and you do that over time, you're going to have a good time. But if you don't, you're going to have a terrible time in the market and you're never going to make it. You cannot be sitting there taking gambles. So if you have a low probability setup, why are you going to even touch it? You can watch it and see what happens. And over time, you're going to develop a sixth sense. You're going to develop intuition. And that intuition is going to make it so you can recognize patterns in real time as you go. That is what I show you guys on this channel. When I see patterns, I point them out. Same reason we pointed out Avgo hitting this level on the RSI right there. And the same reason we pointed out Nvidia hitting this level on the RSI right here. 36.75 is the level that we are paying attention to. And you smacked it, and that was your bottom. And then you continued higher ever since. You smacked it on the day after you hit your bottom, all right? Nonetheless, this thing's about to rip. I'm excited for it. TSM, inverse head and shoulders, said ideally, in yesterday's video, I said ideally we don't take out 190.37. Find buyers before then. You now closed out with increasing volume here on today's daily candlestick. And now it does look like we're probably going to start pushing back up towards the highs. If you could break above 206.61, things will heat up. From there, you can expect a short-term move up to 212.60 and then 220. Weekly chart does not look bad at all by any means. You have a little cup and handle kind of pattern going on. Came back to retest your weekly moving averages, and now you are just basing out before you move up. That's how I see this chart. AMD is a troll. I stand by it. Don't touch it. You see how the weekly closed. Heavy volume on these terrible weekly closes. You broke under key support over here at 121.83. You already broke underneath your 0.786 fib. You're probably going to start coming down to these lower supports at 116.37 and 111.31. I think that can happen in the short term. All right. I don't like the look of this chart. You literally rejected your previous support, now turned resistance. Not a good look. Let's talk about some Bitcoin, guys. Today's candlestick ends in 23 minutes. And how are we looking, guys? How are we looking? We're looking like you're probably going to come back up to the top of the range here. You had a little false breakout over there. That's fine. Expect to retest to 103.647. It doesn't have to happen, but it definitely looks like that is probably going to be the case. You're just going to be stuck in this consolidation. I gave my thoughts on why there's no reason really to be chasing crypto stocks. They're not really even moving with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, I think risk to reward up here. You got a lot more risk. People could be taking profits around this 100K mark. I pointed out before we hit 100K, I said you could go a little bit higher. You're either going to start selling right before it, okay, which was on this day right here. I think I said it on this day right here. You're either going to sell right before it or you go a little over it And then you probably get people, taking profits. And then you would retest the 100K. Or, third scenario, I think I pointed out, is you get over it and a lot of people get squeezed and try shorting it. And then boom, it goes a lot higher. We didn't get that, guys. Momentum just waned. We got these topping tails up here and you pulled back. And you got a decent pullback here with the market. It wasn't as aggressive as the markets. But you did nonetheless get a pullback. And now I think you're probably going to be reverting back to the mean. You're going to come up. We're talking, at least, we're probably going to test 100K at least. 100 to 103,647. That's what I'm going to be looking for. How are the crypto stocks actually looking, though? Garbage. What is this? You don't want to touch this. This is what I've been saying, all right? The chart looks great. But why have you, not gotten any follow through on these breakouts over here? This is a big breakout. You haven't gotten any follow through on it, even though Bitcoin was moving up. You consolidated for weeks. TSLA, I stand by what I pointed out, okay? We had a setup to rip over here, and you faded it. You got no reason to touch this guy. Mara, what happened again? You had a setup to rip over here, and you faded it. No reason to touch this guy. MSTR, I'm not going to say that weekly candle's looking too bad. I'm not going to say this daily candle's looking too bad. I think you're probably going to start heading back up to the highs. I could be wrong on it. Not highs, 437.61. Get above 437.61. You have a shot at taking out 543. But you're going to need the help of Bitcoin. If you don't get the help of Bitcoin, for all I know, this could just be a dead cat bounce into the short-term moving averages over here on the daily time frame, and then you could sell back off. If Bitcoin somehow, Monday comes around and Bitcoin's, above 103K, 103,647 up there, and maybe you're pushing into new highs, MSTR is going to look a whole lot better. You're going to probably gap up, get a decent size $40, $50 gap up here. And I imagine you'd be taking out 437.61. But guys, if Bitcoin pushes new highs and MSTR doesn't push up above 437.61, that is your warning sign right there. Right there. Bitcoin was at the highs and MSTR was right here. If you want to see something confirming that it's running with Bitcoin, make it make sense. Get above where you were over here when Bitcoin was at the highs. And then you can say, this thing is the one with relative strength compared to all of the other Bitcoin stocks. I personally would be focusing on coin. I don't think the weekly look is too bad over here. Pull back to the weekly 9. Pull back your breakout zone over here, 272.55 to 283.48. We pointed this out when we were sitting right up here on top of this trend line. We pointed out that you had this head and shoulders look to you, and you look like, you're probably getting ready for a move. I still think that move's going to be to the upside, but ideally, you would pull back. This is what I pointed out in that video. You could pull back to the breakout zone and hold that breakout zone. You technically have held it, okay? You didn't get a daily close underneath it. Did not get a weekly close underneath it. And I think if Bitcoin really does start pushing, coin could be, something that shows us that strength. But again, they haven't really been running with Bitcoin. I haven't been liking it at all, which is why I say focus on big tech. That's the thing that's going to go along with the thing I pointed out that was at extremes over here and starting to hinge up in yesterday's video. Tech is going to be moving with the NASDAQ. You have no reason to really focus on anything else right now. I'm going to be completely honest there, okay? Now let's talk about some of Henry's trade ideas going into next week. First things first, D-King. I like the weekly candle over here. Pull back to the weekly 21 and the weekly 9. You're dancing around these moving averages now. You're printing a bullish candlestick with a large lower wick off of the 0.618 fib. A breakout level over here, you can see right there. All right, you clearly are finding buyers for multiple days here, defending this. Break above 41.16. I think you have a shot at coming back up to 44.62. Oxy. All right. Buffett is buying. We're watching. Does Buffett use my golden pocket? Does he? It's not mine, but it's I'm going to say my main tool over here that I'll point out on the channel besides just, simple support and resistance and just yeah. All right. The moving averages. This thing is definitely, it provides a lot of value to me in my analysis over here. And as you see, on the whole advance here, it only looks crazy because we're on log scale. You pulled right back to the 0.618 fib that marked your bottom. You had the daily RSI oversold as you hit that, and it marked your bottom. Now you're starting to bounce back. break above this trend line, break above 49.91. I think you see a quick move up to 52.13, and then 53.56 is on the table. Why? These two levels right here, golden pocket. We're talking golden pocket, baby. They align perfectly. There's the confluence. Get up here, expect sellers. All right. Uber. I like how Uber's looking. I want to see it reclaim the daily 9 and then get back above the 21. And I do think it has a shot at starting to advance. All right. I do think. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to really show us the strength over here on Uber. I feel like you're going to be basing out over here. All right. So, keep that in mind. If you're buying this dip, it could take some time. But it is something that I'm going to be paying attention to. Because most of the time, you're going to build out that base, and then you launch up at some point from that base. All right? Same thing over here. You built out your base, you launched up. You built out your base, you launched up. I think we're probably doing that right now. All right? And, the top of it is going to be right over here. The telltale sign is going to be 63.94. Break above 63.94. Get a daily close above the 21. You're probably going to start testing this trend line right here. And then if you can get above that, that's when you probably have a full-on reversal on your hands. And people are probably going to start loving Uber again. And then maybe, just maybe, we start pushing up here at 73.55. And then maybe the golden pocket. Oklo, showing the strength, coming back into it. Weekly time frame looks pretty sexy. Pull back to your short-term moving averages. You've been consolidating for quite some time here. Daily time frame, we could see you broke that, parallel channel, parallel descending channel. Came back to retest it. You're above the short-term moving averages over here on the daily time frame. Break above 22.65. We're talking 24.40, 26.45, and then 28.12. Next one we're talking is going to be HIMS. HIMS over here, guys. You are kind of in the perfect spot. I would have liked a better weekly close, but I like it because of the confluence in this area. You have the weekly 9 here. You have the weekly 21 right below that aligns with the 23.47 level over here. You had this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I think you are going to be going higher. All right. Technically $9 there. It's about $10. You've already had your measured move there. But I do really like that you're retesting this previous structure. And I think you find buyers somewhere in the zone that I'm about to mark out right here. Okay, in between 23.47 and 25.74. I'm looking for buyers to step back into the equation. You got your golden pocket from the most recent advance. If you can't hold 22.50, you're probably coming back down to 19.15. But as long as you hold this zone, guys, I like it. I do like it. And I do think it's probably to be bought up. And then we're probably going to get a test of the golden pocket. Now, you just want to bounce right back. Get above 27.13. Next stop is going to be right here. Now, we'll be watching that. Next stop is going to be 28.72. And then above there, we're just watching 31, which is the golden pocket. All right, from this whole decline we just had. KO, guys, I think a big move is coming. I don't know, I don't know. I'm watching for the upside move. I'm not looking to play downside over here. But either way, I do think a big move is coming, up or down. I think it's going to be up, though. Okay? I think it's going to be up. Break this trend line. Break above 63.92. You're going to probably get, an equivalent move to right there. $2. Okay? That brings you above this. All right? Brings you to right about here. But, once you break above 65.10, that's when things get juicy. You got your ugly double bottom. Now you look for an equivalent measure move off of that. $3 above there. $3. Pretty much you break above 65.10, you're coming to 68.86. So I'm watching on the long side, watching this trend line right here. You got the short-term moving averages consolidating here. They're getting tighter. That means your bigger move is coming. You're doing a little of this action, and I think a big move, trending move, is going to start up in the short term. Last one I'll put on your radar here. You got a little inverse head and shoulders kind of pattern over here on Baidu. All right, and if you can get bought up here and revisit 94.57, I think that's when a larger move starts up here into, above 100 over here. But we're talking, 100 to 108, 102 to 108, golden pocket. But, right here, we're not talking about playing that next move. We're talking right here. Break above 86.05. I think you're probably going to start advancing here. If you're playing short term, you're going to be the levels that you pay attention to. Watch right here, okay? Break above 86.05. You watch for 86.98, 87.87, and then 88.58. Now, I will highlight, to close out the video, I'm going to highlight the most important ticker that I've been pounding the table on because it is ready to go as of today. Today marked the day that Nvidia made its comeback. It started making its comeback, and it showed me what I wanted to see. You based out, you've rebounded from, where we were pointing out, this was the original plan right here. You had the confluence, you came into the golden pocket, you came into a breakout level. Everything's looking good, okay? And now you have a bullish engulfing candlestick with heavy volume on the day. This thing is probably going to start advancing from here. Get above 137.46. I'm going to take off that level. Get above right here. Get above 136.70. We're looking for a move up to 140.08. Get above 140.08. You're watching 142. It's 142.35, but we're just going to say get above 135. Not 135. Get above 142.50. All right. Right over here. Get above there. You probably start making this move right here up to 146.54. I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly update. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And with that being said, we're going to kill it next week for our short Christmas week. And I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.